started digging a hole for the CUDA on Saturday morning at 7 o'clock. It took about 4 hours and a backhoe to dig the hole. It was 18 feet long, 6 feet deep, and 8 feet wide. After the hole was dug, we had the tow truck back up to the hole and lower the CUDA down into it. After the CUDA was set down in the grave, it took me half a day on a bobcat to bury it. That should have been my first clue that that might be a little bit of weight. We hooked up the hearse to it, which was part of the original plan, and had the cameras rolling, the lights were on, the fog machine was going, and action. Hit the winch, nothing. So we decided, oh, okay, well, let's take the hearse and hook it to the bobcat. So we hooked the hearse up to the bobcat, fired the bobcat up, put it in 4-low while it's hooked on to the front of the hearse, pulled on both of them, nothing. Wouldn't budge. That's when we started to think we might be in trouble. So ultimately we bagged it for that day. Came back the next day with the backhoe and driver. When he first hooked onto it and tied the chain off, he made his initial pull, which I would imagine was a couple thousand pounds of pulling power, and it busted the logging chain we were using. That was step one. After that, we got it connected back onto the car. We had to dig down in the dirt, find the K-member of the car, wrap the chain around it, hook it back on to the bucket of the backhoe, got the camera set up in position, said, okay, roll. He pulled on it, it moved about 3 inches, and the whole front interstructure tore off the car. There it was, dangling in the air. I had actually welded 1.5 inch box tubing on to the bottom of the car to give it kind of a ski effect, so it sloped up in the front, and hoping that that would give it its ramp up out of there, kind of just like a ski would. And about the only effective thing they were able to do was that's how we hooked the chain onto it after the front end ripped off. We wrapped it around the skis that I had built, and ultimately that's what pulled the car out. It took about another hour of Darren and I down in the pit digging dirt off of it and the backhoe pulling before we could get that car up out of the grave.